There seems to be a trend for a vintage looking but modern performing cameras right now, with Fujifilm leading the way with creating the hype. Nikon have been at it for a while too, with their somehow lacking oomph the F and then okay ZFC APS-C sensor size camera, but now they have this ZF, full frame, very capable, vintage looking, trendy camera. But is it a camera worth its pretty high price tag? Is it a camera that performs well? And is it a camera for you? In this video, I hopefully answer all those questions and more. Keep watching to find out more about this Nikon ZF. Firstly, I need to say that the images of this camera are a little bit misleading. Just because it is a vintage looking camera, its looks are based on Nikon FM2 35mm film camera, I presumed that it is small. It is not small. Actually, it is a very similar size to Z6 II or Z7 and most of mid-range mirrorless cameras. How does it perform though? I have been shooting with Nikons for a long time, with DSLRs and then mirrorless, and this camera, although I felt instantly at home with it, have surprised me. The images it provides are very good. It delivers that classic Nikon punchy look, and RAW files need significantly less processing time than images from pretty much any other brand of cameras. 24 million pixels full frame sensor and a very long and very impressive specs sheet. The biggest surprise for me is the autofocus. This camera can focus very well. This is kind of must-have functionality, and with the customers having so much choice, good choice on the market right now, Nikon had to come up with something spectacular in this, and they have. Obviously, the performance of the autofocus will hugely depend on the lens you use, but I have been testing it with few underdogs here, and it performs pretty much flawlessly and reliably all the time. This is the same processor and system as found in bigger Z8 and Z9 Nikon cameras. The eye detection and tracking is very sticky, zero complaints. It also works well with animals, and not just cats and dogs, other animals too. 273 AF points and easy to understand and use selection of AF modes for different shooting scenarios. Overall, AF performance this camera delivers is on pro level and nothing to complain or worry about. Photography wise, this camera is certainly capable of professional results. It is no different than the bigger and more expensive models in terms of image quality and performance it delivers. What might stop some pros or pro wannabes from embracing it full time, it's built, but about that in just a minute. When using electronic shutter, you get up to 14 frames per second when shooting RAW and up to 30 frames per second when shooting JPEG. Very decent. Solid 7 frames per second when using mechanical shutter, all standard and comparable with other cameras in this class. Nikon offers also pixel shift mode, delivering high resolution 96 million pixels images when you need that extra resolution for cropping in or large format print. Pre-burst mode, recording up to 30 frames per second before you fully press that shutter button, so you literally can't miss the action. The camera has got a switch for photo video modes, but also black and white option. This only works when you shoot JPEG and provides very high contrast, vintage looking black and white film look. Video, this camera really excels, not something that I expected from it at all, being vintage inspired. It offers internal analog recording in 420 10-bit, 60p, 4K with APS-C crop, 120p in full HD, all with very good and reliable autofocus. No recording time limits. Kind of. Nikon states that you get 125 minutes continuous recording to the memory card, long enough for most of situations for sure. A few other neat video features are new shutter priority mode. You set your shutter speed to double of your frame rate to retain 180-degree shutter angle, and the camera will handle the ISO and aperture automatically. Standard and same as with all other cameras, but this Nikon makes ISO and aperture changes smooth on your footage. Useful when you don't want to be fiddling with all the settings all the time. You can of course change ISO and aperture manually when filming, and the changes are smooth on the recorded footage as well. There are also monitoring tools like ZBrush and Waveform Monitor available, decent IBIS and additional electronic vibration reduction and shift VR modes with slight crop but adding extra stability when shooting handheld. 8 stops of 5-axis stabilization, not only must have for video but also allowing you to shoot sharper photos with slower shutter speeds handheld. Overall, it is a very capable camera for video for beginners and pros alike. Built there is a lot to talk about the build here. A different looking camera for sure. It is based on FM2 classic camera. It looks almost identical externally. It features those old school dials for manual control of ISO on the left and shutter on the right. Very straightforward to use, but somehow frustrating if you are used to standard camera controls. The aperture changes are the only standard control here and are controlled by the wheel in the front of the camera. Very solid construction. It does actually feel like a vintage old school camera. The body is weather sealed magnesium alloy and the dials and buttons brass. The body only weighs 710 grams. The biggest issue with the construction is the lack of the grip. Okay with small lenses like this, I guess, but as soon as you mount something bigger, it is harder to hold the whole camera. This certainly could make it difficult and uncomfortable to shoot with professionally for longer periods of time. There are add-on grips that you can buy from Nikon or SmallRig, but this is something that just should be part of the camera or included with it. The shutter button has got threaded cable release hole. I'm not sure why this is needed at all, as you can delay shutter release electronically or release it by the app, for example. Might be just a visual thing to make it look more vintage. Considering that it is not a small camera, there's only micro HDMI port, and that's really vintage, USB-C port for charging and using the camera as a webcam, microphone and headphone sockets too. In making it as much vintage looking as possible, they have ditched the joystick. You only have 4 directional buttons. Changing or moving the focus point while shooting with your eye to the viewfinder is just slower this way. Nikon have added touch screen control. Even though the screen is off when you put your face to the camera, you can still move the focus point with your finger on the screen. It takes some time getting used to, but it works. 2 card slots, kind of standard and must have with a camera in this price range, but here we have something different. Main card slot is a standard UHS-2 SD card slot, but the second one is UHS-1 micro SD card slot. Needs solution to save space and still have 2 card slots. Classic now, intuitive and easy to use menu system. You also have fully customizable quick access menu, separate for photography and video, where you can put all the functions you use the most and need quick access to them while shooting. It is available in this classic black, but also 6 different colors if you want something more you. Z mount, it offers a really good selection of lenses, but with Nikon own FT-Z adapter, you can also use majority of all the F mount lenses with it too. Price £2,299 here in UK, or just under $2,000 in US, and only marginally more with a very small budget-friendly 40mm f2 kit lens, this one or the vintage looking one. The whole vintage vibe thing looks slightly gimmicky to me, but under the dials and the old school look, you have a very good and a very capable camera here. This is the right price for a mid-class consumer semi-pro camera, but in this case, with added bonus vintage exterior look. The lack of proper grip is the only thing that lets it down, but if you want something different looking, or if you are already invested into Nikon ecosystem, especially Nikon Z ecosystem, this is a very good value for money. Conclusion, it has really surprised me. I don't know what I've expected, but not this. Not a very good pro level camera. This is so much more than just trendy vintage external look. I would have no problem having just this camera and shoot photos and video with it professionally, or even YouTube videos like this. Even though it is not small, there's few Nikon and now third-party small lenses available for it, making it a great travel camera too. Ideal for everyday usage and so much more. It looks cool, and it is a camera that you know that not only is going to deliver the goods, but also last. Very well built, and that look will not make it look older with time than it already does. Great camera, and I highly recommend it. And this is it from me. I hope this video was in some way helpful or informative. If it was, please give me the thumbs up. Please subscribe if you are not already doing so, to help me to grow this channel and bring you more interesting gear reviews. Check out my Lightroom presets, the link is in the description below, and follow me on Instagram. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.